This is the Visions and Tones podcast with Dr. T.
Welcome to the latest edition, very first episode. I've got a powerhouse with me today, Mr. Benard Njoroge Koya.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce your names right?
No, you just interchange. So it's supposed to be Benard Njoroge.
Okay, Benard
Koya
Njoroge.
Yeah.
So Njoroge is your...
Njoroge, that's my surname.
That's your surname.
Yeah, that's my dad's name.
And you're from Kenya.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit, in at least somebody let someone learn something, how Kenya formulates the family name or the surname basically?
So your first name is pretty much your Christian name. So then your second name is the name that you're named.
All right.
Then your third, which is your surname. Your surname is your dad's name.
Is it a dad's first or last name, or it doesn't matter?
Dad's middle name.
Middle name, which is a traditional name, not the Christian name.
Yeah. So, but in my tribe, probably in Kenya, so if you don't have a dad, so you can take your mom's middle name. That's maiden name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can take your mom's as well. So it was introduced, I think, a few years back, because there was mostly in the central part of Kenya, there was a lot of families without dads, so they used to struggle to get IDs. So they were like, we don't have a dad. So it was a requirement for you to bring your father's ID or your father's name.
Right.
So you don't know who's your father. So they changed it. They're like, you can take your mom's name.
And if you happen to take your mom's maiden name, does it have any cultural implications? So, for instance, you find in South Africa, there's certain tribes that believe if you're using your mom's surname instead of your dad's surname, your things might not go well unless you sort of introduce your dad's surname and you take your dad's surname and there's like ceremonies or rituals that are done for you, then your things can go well. Do you have such beliefs?
No. Like my wife has actually, her surname is actually her mom's.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't see it. It could be like those guys with deeper cultural stuff. They can explain it, but not the mainstream guys.
Right. So the mainstream guys, when you say perhaps not, are you certain that there's no negative implications, or are you saying you have not observed anything like that? Because I'm pretty sure the older generation might have observed something for them to have that belief. And at the same time, I know that some people might criticize it and say this is your patriarchal kind of thinking, that a woman should always take, or a child should always take the father's name instead of the mother's name.
No, like this. Look, this when it came, it doesn't come from a vacuum. So I'm sure they had to have conversation with the elders from the Kikuyu community, and they were good with it because I didn't see any repercussions or any guys going against it. So it was all good, and I honestly haven't seen anything or any cultural thing that we have to do to justify why you can't take a woman's name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you look though?
Yeah. Look, even the previous marathon record holder, that was somebody Wanjiro, had the Wanjiro is actually his mother's name.
Okay.
Yes, like it's now, I think it's coming, it's just part of the culture nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, but nowadays culture is more blended in a sense that a lot of things have changed. And again, maybe sometimes superstitions are the actual things that causes a burden on us than reality. I don't know.
No, but I don't, because I know like in the Kikuyu culture, so if you had a widow in the community and you had one wealthy lady and didn't have families or kids, by Kikuyu culture, she was allowed to marry the widow with kids, and the kids will take her name.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is culturally was acceptable.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
so I think it comes from that perspective. Like that lady will be like, hey, those kids needs to be looked after. So that lady will come in and be like, I'll give them their name, basically give the kids her name.
And the kids never have any issues growing up.
No.
Certainly so.
Yeah.
So perhaps it is what I'm saying, that sometimes perhaps superstitions are the ones that often become a burden to us.
Yeah.
Or maybe we don't look very closely. I mean, one might still succeed in terms of, financially and so on and so forth, but you find that there's other elements in your life that are a little bit shaky. Perhaps having that father figure or having taken the father's surname could have looked different.
No, but like we're coming in from a community where, look, apart from the modern definition of a father, back then it would be like even the Maasai's community in Kenya. So they had a culture back then. This was among the Maasais and also the Luos. So the Maasai used to be like, look, hey, Tony, you're my friend. I've got a homestead. I've got probably like 5-6 wives. So when you're coming to visit me, you would come up with your spear and spear. They're like spear like on the ground for one of my wife's heart. And you have a Mary. That's hospitality. So
nice.
If the kids come out of that, they're all my kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's it. And then the other cultural aspect we had was the Luo in Kenya. So initially, back then, this before the HIV stuff, so it was more of you were supposed, if your brother dies and he has a wife, you inherit the wife with all the kids.
Yeah, I mean that happens also in. Yeah. Well, it used to happen in a lot of cultural groups in South Africa, ethnic groups in South Africa.
Yeah, so that like the kids are more. They never lack somebody to be like that father figure. Mm-hmm. There's always someone in the family willing to step up
and take the responsibility. Yeah. But now, so how versed are you in terms of the cultural practices in Kenya? I want to sort of figure this thing out. Yeah. If I am from one of the tribes there and then I find a girlfriend, then we happen to have a baby, does that translate to say this is now technically my wife because we've been together, or there's still the traditional ceremonies that have to sort of solidify, the union?
So there's the law that will like, if you stay with a woman for a certain number of years, so we call it come and stay. Uh-huh. So come and stay was legalized to be considered as a marriage.
Come and stay.
Yeah.
Is that same as cohabitation?
Yeah.
Basically, it is cohabitation.
Yeah. So that's actually was regarded as a marriage.
Uh-huh.
So and then initially, most marriages in Kenya start that way, because like it's funny how it's hard for you if you're introducing a girlfriend. You don't introduce a girlfriend to your parents. You're introducing a wife or a spouse. Mm-hmm. So there's no notion of like, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend. We're just kicking it. We're just like we need to figure out things.
Right.
No, that's not a thing. So you're introducing a wife or a husband. So there's no in between. So that's why you see like you'll see people like just hiding, and then so once you go do your traditional thing, you do the introduction is a big thing, because that's also considered as a wedding.
Right.
Yeah. So in Kikuyu we have it what we call Kohada Ivege. So it means like pretty much planting a tree, coming in and making a mark in your homestead, in my wife's homestead.
Right.
To show that she's mine. Like it's kind of like an engagement.
Yeah. I get the part of you've now stayed together for a while. I mean, even the modern laws today are sort of pushing that, right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be married with someone, formally.
Yeah.
But there could be sort of a window in case where there's conflicts to sort of look at how long have you been together? Have you been buying stuff together? Yeah. Therefore, yes, guy, you've wasted the girl's time. You need to sort of account for this and that and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Probably that happens. But in this case, I was sort of referring to perhaps the level of stay is not even much more there, but we just happen to have a baby. And can that be easily translated to say, now this is your wife because of the baby, or it's a different story?
I think people already assume that's your wife.
So it's your wife based on assumption, not really traditional technicalities.
No, because traditionally when you go to pay your labora or like paying the dowry, you get fined.
For the damage? Yeah. Damage meaning for making her pregnant before
you come in,
right.
Yeah, so it's not regarded because you have to pay for that as well. Yeah, so you have to pay a few goats or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really not that different to some of the cultural groups in South Africa. The Zulus would do that because it's mostly Bantus.
It's Bantus, same culture. We came from the same place, but borders. Yeah. We all came from Congo, the Bantus. We wonder why they're fighting. We need to go for all for our gold.
Welcome. It's good to have a chat with you. I love the fact that you're also rooted with the cultural beliefs from Kenya. You've been here in Australia for how long now?
I think this year probably will be like 11, 12 years.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's forever. Wow.
Right. And you were back home.
Yeah.
Something beautiful happened now when you're back home. Should we talk about it?
Yeah.
She said yes.
Yeah, she has to. She has to.
That was amazing. I think as we were touch basing a little bit on, I was a little bit confused. So you sort of clarified for me that you actually did the traditional wedding, but now you're going to for the white wedding.
Yeah. Oh, that's something my wife always wants. I love my wife dearly. Yeah. Just want to emphasize that I love her dearly.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Hey, baby, if you're listening. Yeah. So I just want to. It's just something that she really wants, and I always want to make her happy. Yeah, and if that's what she wants, it is important for me to make her happy. And she wants an engagement. That's the least I can do. Yeah, I can do more than that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So you speak about if she wants an engagement. I mean, you've been with her for a while. You've got kids. Your firstborn, how old is he now?
13. 14. We're turning 14 next month. Yeah.
14. I mean, 14, I still take it that you are more experienced when it comes to living with someone, right? Living with your wife, maybe let me just say someone, but living with your wife, maybe you know how to navigate your space around your wife, right?
Yeah.
Is there sort of a blanket way of saying, this is me knowing how to deal with a woman, or this is always the best way that a man should do to find peace in the house, is to say yes to everything that your wife is saying?
Not necessarily. I think finding peace is just making sure your partner is happy.
Right.
Yeah, and look, her happiness is my happiness, and she wanting the engagement, and for me knowing how much that means to her. For me, marrying her traditionally meant the world to me. That's what I've been striving to do, because I kind of feel that that's my culture. Like, I have to honor what my forefathers did.
Right.
But in the modern world, there's the white wedding and stuff, and the engagement and stuff, and she wants that, and I want that for her. So that's why I have to propose, because I love her and I want her to be happy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure your kids are going to find great inspiration from dad.
Hopefully they're learning, but they're not allowed to date until they're 21.
Why?
See, look at him.
Why?
He has been asking about getting a girlfriend and stuff. I feel like I just want him to find himself, to know who he is before he gets consumed into a relationship. I just want him to understand, figure out what he wants, what his beliefs in norms. That.
So you really mean it when you say by 21?
He's here, look, as long as he can prove to me he knows what he wants in life.
Yeah, but I mean, being in the context that you are, probably kids start dating. At what age do they start dating? Yeah, do you know? 12, 10, 12, they've got boyfriends, girlfriends.
Pretty much.
And the belief is that that's how you also find yourself. So if you want him to find himself, what if part of finding himself is exactly through dating?
No, then what are you offering?
You're offering the foolishness so that perhaps the other person can help you turn the foolishness into something that makes sense.
That's the point, when you're expecting the other person to do it. I want you to find that foolishness on your own.
But we never really find liberation on our own unless through the window of others. And the more we come across other people, the more we see who we are, because they often show a reflection of who we are. Yeah.
But I think he needs to find himself. I feel like he needs... Look, before I can feel comfortable, look...
What are those things in particular that you say, okay, here you're finding it?
I want him to know how to respect a woman.
Beautiful.
I want him to know how to love one. He can learn this from pretty much him seeing the relationship between me and his mom. Mm-hmm. So, because that's the best place I say a kid can learn. You learn your first traits or example of being a good boyfriend from how your dad treats your mom. Mm. So, for me, being a good model and loving my wife as much as I can, I'm sure he's learning something, and he can take from that.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So not leaving him to the other person to come and teach him. It is part of my responsibility. As much as I want him to learn that, he's also learning that from me and from an example. Mm-hmm. I did that. I learned how to be in a relationship, how to love your wife from my dad.
Okay.
So, and I will want the same thing for my kid.
One thing that I didn't mention that I think the listeners should know, you do work around, your work, is sort of around child protection.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about that? What in particular do you do? And I'm trying to sort of tie what you particularly do with whether the things that you're saying now about your child learning, does it have anything to do with maybe what you observe in your space of formal work?
Yeah. Look, and this is from also Kenya. Also, Kenya worked in a child organization.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom founded and runs one of the biggest kids organization in Kenya called Mogra. So I worked there for a few years before coming to Australia, and this was working in the slums of Mathare and just seeing all the laws that can be for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So then coming here, going through my studies and eventually coming through working in child protection was kind of an eye opener, seeing both of the worlds and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just saying just because I work with teenagers and I see how they run, how they are, just gives me the do's and the don'ts when it comes to my own kids.
Right.
And I also funny enough, also learn things from the kids I work with.
Right.
So they're like, oh, don't let your kid do that. So like, okay, why? So this is what you do, you talk to them like, oh, our Xbox is better than a PS.
Right.
So why is that? Oh, you can lock it this way, you can do it this way. So it's kind of, I'm also learning from them as much as I'm trying to impact them. So in return, they make me a better parent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because I don't go in there like, hey, you need to be doing this ABCD. I go in just trying to understand what's happening to you and what you're going through.
Right.
And pretty much, just learning from them and taking that on board as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate doing this, but maybe let me ask you this question. So in terms of child protection, which system or, when you compare Kenya to Australia, would you say you found it to be best? And I mean, that's why I say I hate doing this, right? But I don't want people to understand this as having to do with, comparing first world and third world. Each and every system is in alignment with its economy. That's one of the things that people need to understand.
Yeah.
Right.
And the norms and where you guys are as a society. So there are things that which are and norm like they're acceptable in Kenya, which are definitely a no here.
Yeah.
Look, first of all, is the funding. And then the other thing that I found them is how they take research into practice.
Here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't stay for practice for so long, so it's always evolving.
Right.
So it comes in with time. So they change. The world is always changing, social media. So and then they tend to actually change with it.
Okay.
So the practice, what we used to practice probably when I started 5 years ago, is a definitely different practice than what we are doing right now, because they keep on evolving, and that's also so you hear some connotation about child protection 5 years ago. So I look at them, I'm like, yeah, that's bad, because that's not what we are practicing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so progressive. The guys who work there, they're always willing to change and they listen. So there's a lot of, also there's a lot of consultations. There's a lot of, not one fits all. So there's,
So in a nutshell here, you think it's more better than back home?
I would say that's the system I've worked for long.
Right.
Yeah. So
let me see if we can sort of change your mind about something.
Yeah. Okay.
You were talking about evolving. You were talking about policy evolving.
Yeah.
Here being more progressive.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was keen to hear from you has to do with looking at the new laws that have been implemented today. For instance, we see the LGBT becoming more progressive.
Yeah.
So to say, I wanted to hear from you. How does child protection then play itself out in the context of Australia, where you find a lot of parents were giving a pushback to say, we cannot sort of promote our children to tell us that they want to change their gender from this to that. But at the same time, there's politics at play where the government wants to sort of appease, the voters. So we need to make the voters happy.
Yeah.
But in the case you find that most of the voters would say, well, we want our kids to determine their own gender, chances are then the government can change in terms of, wanting to appease the people. I'm not saying that's the case with Australia. I don't know the complexities, but how do you guys navigate that kind of a space?
Look, we acknowledge whatever kids identifies to be, like that's you. So, but at the ultimate, the most thing that we look into is, are you safe? Are you happy? Is there any risks involved? So there's no like who you are. So when I go and talk to a kid, I'm not like, hey, are you gay? Are you straight? Or are you they, he? Like, it doesn't matter. So for us, you're a child. Are you safe?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like what you think you're safe. So the other things that comes in makes your personality or who you are. They're important. But I'm looking at you. I'm looking at an aspect of your safety. I'm not coming in with my own bias. It was like, hey, you're gay, you're this now.
But the concept safety is a concept that you are given by either your agency or your government that says this is our standard policy of safety.
Yeah.
How do you navigate a space where you see that the government can call this safety, but personally you don't think this is safety? And that's a hard question in a space where we know that the capital now runs our world. Sometimes people say, yes, I just need my money, dude. But at the same time, I know that this is dangerous for other kids, even though I may not allow this to happen to my kids.
So you check your biases.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm biased towards certain things. I check my bias and I put that aside. Right. It's the same thing works if some people don't like a certain group. You put your bias away and you just give them service. So it doesn't matter who they are, what they do. Just check your biases and acknowledge them. I'm like, this is what I'm thinking. Yep. Then how do I support you best?
Right.
Yeah. So you have colleagues, you got support, and it comes in from actually being. I feel like a good practitioner is the one who's true to themselves.
Right.
Coming in, I know I'm struggling with working with people of color.
Mm-hmm.
So just go to my colleague, person of color as my colleague. Like, look, I've got this kid that I'm working with. How is it best that I can support them? So it's that checking beautiful. My bias. Yeah. That's checking my bias and making sure I've got support from people of the same. Help, give me tips on how to support you.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, it's just like, hey, I don't know how to deal with you. I don't know how to support you. I'm on a different mindset, but I have to give you service.
Right.
So there's a lot of support within the department for you to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you mistakenly cross the line, what's the best way that your organization sort of deals with it?
I like it's open. Like, if you don't like this, first of all, I don't know if I can talk about the complaints and stuff here.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, like, it's always like in any organization, before I give you service, you know where you need to go for your complaints.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why if you feel like I'm giving you anything that's a service that it's not right or due to you, you got a right of complaint. It's a service that I'm giving to you.
Right.
Yeah, so you can always opt for, like, look, can I talk to your manager?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's doing ABCD. Okay, if your manager does not listen, okay, can I talk to your manager's managers? Yeah, it's that kind of a system. The good thing here, the system works.
Mm-hmm.
So it will get to the top. You got all the complaints procedures that you go through. So, and I have to share with you that for you to know.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can sort of enlighten us, for how long have you been working as a case in child protection?
5 years.
5 years now.
Yeah.
What are the most cases that you guys are dealing with, and what's sort of the best way that you actually help sort of salvage whatever case might be on your desk?
Cause there's so many aspects of child protection.
Uh-huh.
So you got your child protection, you got your CP.
Please break that down for us.
That's child protection. So those are the guys who go out. If there's so if there's a report, there's a kid who's being at risk. So those are the guys who go in and do the investigations, do the assessments.
Okay.
So then you got the out of home care, the kids who have been brought into care by the court.
Okay.
So those are the guys who look after them, make sure their rights and standards are met. And then you got the youth and adolescents ones. So these are the kids who look after the kids, are the teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a lot of compartments and like a lot of department into it. Yeah, there's permanency. There are people who looking at making sure these kids have got a permanent home as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of components in child protection. It's not just that policing aspect of it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right,
so it's
right.
good.
So which part are you on mostly?
So I've worked, I think, in 3.
Or in 3 of them?
Yeah.
Out of care?
Out of home care,
Out of home care.
and child protection. So all of us are still child protection caseworkers.
Right.
So that's all like our main label.
Yeah.
And then, but you get departments, and now I am intensive support.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's basically teenagers and adolescents.
And what kind of sort of cases maybe with, did you say adolescents that you work with, that you sort of feel like you guys deal with here, but maybe people in the global south might not sort of take those as serious troubles. We treat them as just a normal kind of a behavior of a child, but the first one takes it very seriously.
A funny thing is, what I've realized is the kids in the global south and global north, the teenagers have the same problems.
Right.
The difference is finance.
Okay.
Yeah, so one is rich, one is poor, but same problems. They're teenagers, full of hormones, like everything is happening. So they're easily manipulated, they're easily taken advantage of. So because they're trying to find themselves. So the same problems they have here is the same problem they have in a developing country.
Right.
The problem is one has resources and the other one doesn't. But similar situation, they're like a typical problem you found in, say, in Kenya. You'll find a kid with here, but here the kid will have access to finance and stuff.
Right. But then the ways of also dealing with the kind of problems that they have here and there might be different, right?
Yeah.
In a sense that perhaps in some of the global south, spaces, punishment still looks different to sort of punishment in the global north, so to say. If a child is entering, teenage state and you being a nuisance out there, you may find that sometimes, some people might not want to spare the road. They might want to use the road, but you find that you are sort of not allowed to do that in the global north.
Yeah. And look, violence for mostly even for teenagers.
So you call it violence.
It is violence.
So, okay, you call it violence.
Yeah,
when you say violence, is it just violence in terms of generally you see disciplining a child in that way as violent, or you seeing it as violence in the context of just only the global north?
I look at it like as a teenager, just looking at myself. Man, I was a naughty kid. I was always the kid who was getting smacked. Like I was always in trouble.
But did you translate that as violence when we were getting spanked?
No, that was normal. Like you're doing something bad. You're getting it. So it's so it's coming. It's a risk that you take. But every community has developed, have evolved to manage things differently. So this community has developed to take that and call it violence. For us, like in Kenya, that's like you get marked. That's what we deal with you.
Right.
Yeah. So you tend to be like not doing what you're asked to do.
Right.
Yeah. Not like you find it in Kenya. Like you find in like probably where I came from is like you get in trouble. The first person to smack you probably be your neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's it's a community thing.
Yeah.
Like kids were like our responsibility for the community. So everyone kids thinks you misbehave, anyone can call you out, anyone can correct you. But here, like in the global north, you can't do that. Like the family, the norms and the way of life here is each to their own.
Right.
So I discipline my kids. I tell my kids to what to do. I'm the one responsible for my kids. So there's no community. So there's no leaving that responsibility to anyone else. Yeah. So that's all. Like even with Davey about the dating thing, it is my responsibility. I can't just leave that to somebody else or the community. It's my responsibility.
But in that case, doesn't the law then say to you're raising an iron fist if you say to him he shouldn't be dating at whatever age? Where's the line between this is my style of parenting, this is my house? Okay, basically, where's the line that you would say where should the line be in the context of the law from the government and how it should step into your door?
You do realize like the laws in New South Wales, kids, Queensland, every state has got their
They're
own
different,
kid.
yeah.
And they pretty much they say differently on how we need to punish your kids.
Right.
Yeah. So it is.
And then you still have your own law from Kenya. You were raised in Kenya. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
How many times did you hold back where you feel like if I was in Kenya, I would have given it to David for? You don't.
I don't hold back.
Right.
Yeah, I don't hold back. Like, look, if you do it, look, because the law is like everything has to be reasonable.
Okay.
So there's no way you're punishing a kid and the kid ends up at the hospital.
Yeah.
That's
well,
violence.
that's extreme.
Yeah. And that's one of the things where the government comes in. So it's not you smacking your kid. Yeah, like the naughty and then you smack your kid or like still child protection in your office, in your door. Mm-hmm. So it's not that. So it has to be something extreme that's putting a kid at risk.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not like the typical guys who are like, oh.
But I'm not sure, Ben, because who should tell what the extreme is? In a sense that I think governments around the world, not just only in Australia, not just in South Africa. I'm not sure maybe about Kenya, but I know that there's a time where a lot of rights were given to children. It's your right. And then you find children, back chatting to elders and stuff like that. I'm not sure who should tell us exactly what is the extreme and what isn't the extreme.
I think that's not a government. That's a you parent thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if your kid is back chatting to you, how you bring them up, why you showing them that's okay.
Right.
Yeah, so my kid doesn't do that to me. It's not because that I follow the law or anything. It's just your parenting. So others choose to let your kids I have struggles and I admit that, letting my kids go to the beach.
Yeah.
So where else other kids are being exposed to those things, my kids. So it could be in essence that I'm disadvantaging my kid, but that's my parenting style.
So if you see you disadvantaging your kid, why not do something to work around that so you don't disadvantage your kid?
I take him to the beach. I make sure I'm watching him when he's swimming. And I make sure he goes to the swimming lessons, so that if he
just turns and look, it's like he wants to comment like my dad is not telling the truth.
No, he knows that. He knows that I take him to the beach to swim, and I pay for swimming classes. He can swim, but nice. I still pay for his swimming classes because this is Australia. There's water surrounding it, so I just want to make sure he's competent enough. If he drops in the ocean, he can swim. So I'm doing my part. So then when I'm comfortable enough, like this dude can swim, I go for it. Yeah. So he went to swim. When did he go swimming?
A couple days ago.
Yeah. So he went with his mates from school.
Right.
So then he was telling me stories like, oh, Dad, it was amazing. We were jumping in this. What was it? Like the hole and the water was pushing you under, was between the rocks. In my head, I'm like, shit.
The water should be just by your ankles. You don't have to go under the rock and whatever.
Yeah, I'm feeling, wow, that's what my son is doing. Is he safe? But like, this is his world now. This is one thing that he has to put up with.
Right.
And I have to somehow get comfortable with that. But yeah, it's always a worry. Like I'm happy that he's enjoying it, but at the same time, it's a worry.
Yeah, I mean, parents, you'll always worry. You know, even when someone is 30 of age, some parents still worry about a 30-something.
My mom. Child. Yeah, my mom and dad always still worry about me when I'm in Kenya. They are happy when I come to Australia. They're like, they kind of feel like he's not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least he's safe there. Like, because when I'm home, he's like, hey, why are you not home by 10?
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, man, sometimes I stay for a week without even ever going home.
Yeah.
Because I just work. Like, So, but like coming back to the laws, like the parent is all individual. If your kid is safe and is not at any risk, nobody's going to bother you. Yeah. So the kids end up and people. Not even the people in the community know the kid who's at risk and who's being abused, and they're the one that will report.
Right.
Yeah. So not necessarily people will see the kids who are at risk, the kids who are being abused. They will know.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you sort of work a situation, perhaps by law and also by profession, where you hear that somebody who's 16 can consent to whatever. 16-year-old can smoke, it's their right, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, you can see that 16 at the end of the day is just a number.
Yeah.
You're still a baby, you know.
So are we looking at that in the context of the global south and the global north?
Okay, you can spell any.
Yeah, because so here 14 you can medically consent.
14.
Yeah.
Yes, medically.
Yeah.
But not sexually. Isn't sexually at 13 or sexually is part of medically?
So sexually is, my understanding is you're not supposed to have, like I think that's from 16.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sexually is
but
16.
it's always like 2 years. There's a 2 years buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
like,
14 medically.
Yeah.
Work-wise, signing contract, is it 14 also?
I think now still under parent to support. Yeah. Oh, is it?
But
I'm
they
not
start
sure.
working at 14, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So who's signing for them the contracts when they start
So-
working 14?
So the parent, I think the parent still has to give consent, or your guardian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So and 16, 14. I should check this. Yeah, I feel like there's some places they can sign. So 14, they need to give consent for anything medical.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Meaning a 14-year-old can come and say, I feel trapped in the wrong body. I want to be a she with they, them.
Yeah, and they can sign
the pronouns.
whatever. Yeah, they can be. So they can come in and be like, it doesn't start that way. So they'll be like, I can consent
Okay.
for ABCD not to see my medical.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they'll be like, but you as a parent, you still have the right to see your kid's medical.
That sounds like
Yeah.
a reverse of. So I'm consenting that
ABCD.
should not look at my.
Yeah. But
Right.
again, as a parent, you
But
still
again,
have, as a parent, you
I'm
have
sure
the
there's
right.
grounds, right, to say
Yeah, yeah.
unless if it's more of a precarious situation, this is a
Yeah.
matter of life and death, and the parents can have a look. But if it's not that deep,
Yeah.
you know, kids have got the right to can say no. Nobody should look at this.
Yeah. So when to come into surgery as well, like the parent needs to give consent as well.
When it comes to
Or like surgery, like all those
surgery,
things.
yes.
So the parents
Really?
Yeah.
I cannot remember what. Okay, maybe those are just productions,
Yeah.
movie productions. But at the same time, I know that movie productions are sort of telling us the reality of what is happening.
Yeah. Or they're trying to influence the reality to be.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Because I remember there's one show on, I think it's A Good Doctor. We can give them air.
Yeah.
Where there's a moment where a daughter wanted to change something and the parents didn't want. But then the daughter had to sort of consent that I'm not disclosing, I'm not allowing my parents to see this and to make any decision about this until I'm done with my process. And that created a bit of a tension between the doctors and the parents, and because now the hospital is bound by law to protect the needs of the child,
Yeah.
but the parent cannot step in at the same time.
But what we see is if you are giving major surgery, like there has to be a consent given by a parent.
What would major surgery look like?
Oh.
Do we judge major based on how much bill it's going to be, or what exactly? How do we exactly judge?
This medical, but I think anything that a doctor has to be involved in.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, you are going to a hospital, that's a major surgery. Yeah. So the parent has a right to know legally.
Would you consider circumcision as a major?
Yeah. Some people that's a major.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You do sound like one who's really enjoying, your work. What does it take for one to sort of come and do, work around child protection? Is there certain levels you should be doing? And because I would have loved to also hear you, because I know that your work has a bit of a touch with also social work.
Yeah.
There's a number of international students also coming in wanting to sort of do social work,
Yeah.
and they've got like big aspirations. But when they get here, the reality is completely different, to the aspirations and perhaps what you've been promised. prior to coming here. So I would love to sort of hear you maybe speaking to us maybe from the context of what it entails to end up in working in child protection. What hooks have you got to sort of cross to get there? And is it the same for domestic people and international people?
No, I think for international people it's different because you're coming to assimilate to a new culture. So you need to understand their way of life.
Right.
And you're also coming from a place where you had things done a certain way. So when you're coming in, you need to assimilate, understand their way. So how are you going to start working and telling people about things that you actually don't understand? So also like most international, like start small and then grow into it. Because once you start at top, it will be hard for you because at that time you're trying to understand how this community works, and then also trying to be like, hey, how do I come into this as a practice, as a social worker? So I'm coming in from we had a different way of doing things. So if you start small, like I would say, don't try and probably do understand things from a Sat 4 level, grow to a diploma, then go into it.
Right.
It could be within an year or when you're doing your placements.
Yeah.
But it helps you to understand the community and how it works. So when you coming into a social worker, you're being told like, hey, you need to refer this to this. You know how this community works.
Right.
And that makes it easier for you to actually come in into work because you know what they want, rather than you trying to learn that while at work. So it will be hard. You feel like you'll have to work double.
Right.
Because you'll be trying to understand, okay, why does that policy need to be done? Like why? And then why do they need that policy? And then how do I support that policy? How do we make that policy work? So that's us, those struggle that way.
Okay.
You're small, start small, grow into it. Understand. It's mostly when it comes to social work, is actually understanding the community, and then how you could actually practice into it as a social worker.
Right. Right.
You implement whatever you've learned into it.
Earlier when you spoke about checking your biases, so this is also needed here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
To not say, well, back home this is what we do. You're not back home here.
No. This is different. This is a whole different community. They have their own set of rules.
Right.
They have set for themselves, and that's how they want to be governed. So you're coming in. You're not coming with your bias or what some things that you have learned before. You actually have to unlearn everything and come learn things how they want to do, how they want their things done, and then support them from that aspect, from their things that we're supposed to do. You still got your biases. You still got it take you a long time to actually get over them, or you'll never do. But just understanding this is their policies, this is how they have chosen to govern their own community. So just help them with that.
I'm sure when you're still starting, it must be a little bit hard sometimes to sort of cancel your biases, right? To silence your biases sometimes.
It is.
Have you ever had a moment where you were asked to do something and you feel like this is definitely against my faith or my beliefs? And how did you navigate that? What's that situation, even if there is any?
No, that's not even only like also there are other Australians as well. Like they have the same struggle.
Right.
And they'll be like, look, I don't believe in that, but this is what will work for this family. Just go with it. That's each to their own. Yeah, so it may not work for you. Ethically, it may not like sound like it's right, but like this is what they need, and this is what this is pretty much a policy for everyone.
Right.
You just follow it. You're doing it for them, not for you. Yeah, so that's what's going to work for them. And most of the policies, they're well thought of. And if they don't work, they don't work. Yeah, they're checked quickly. So yeah, it's not a problem for just like as a foreigner coming in, or also as Australians as well practicing into it. They have to check their biases. Yeah, the people who are not comfortable with working with black people, and they have to learn that from us. Yes, and it like some things I like it. Like sometimes you'll be walking in you will say something no to a colleague, like no, I'm not going to do that. So they'll be like okay, I don't get it. Well. And then later on, they're like, oh, yeah, I see why that could be a problem. Because they're also checking their bias. We are constantly checking our bias. I'm like, oh, yeah, I see why that could be a problem.
Right.
So now, it also depends on what colleagues you have. So if you got good supportive colleagues, they are able to support you with that. Yeah, so them understanding from where you're coming from, and they only understand if they actually understand your bias.
Right.
So you'd be like, yeah, just being open, like, look, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with this stuff. I can't understand them. It's not that I don't want to do them. It's for me. It would be hard for me to implement something that I don't understand.
Right.
So if the concept of, I'll say, the pronouns is new to me, I'm like, look, I'm struggling with that. It doesn't make sense to me. Look, I struggle with that. So you tell them like, look, yeah, I'm not coming in from a point of being, I don't know. It's something that I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not biased against it. I don't care what you want to be called, but I struggle with it. Because even the pronouns thing is, even you think about it with Swahili, like in Swahili, like it can come out as derogative. Yeah. So using it can become derogative, like if I think in Swahili. Or
In what way? Explain that.
so like like it would be like I don't know how to look at them. Yeah, like look at them like that initiates like not something like really.
I mean, it's the same as. I get what you mean. What you're sort of trying to sort of draw across is like, picture a white person saying, "You people," basically referring to people of color.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good, right?
Yeah, it does, yeah, exactly. So it's like it kind of but in Swahili as well. So we have kijana. It means both male and female. So,
but is that a bad thing?
No, that means youth.
Kijana.
Yeah. So kijana, you can't refer a lady to a kijana or a man to a kijana.
Why?
Because it's a word for both.
But it does not mean like concepts like tomboy, tomgirl.
No. The same as he. I don't think it refers to that as well.
It does refer to that?
No, I don't know. I don't I don't want to get into it because it's something that I don't understand. I'm like, you see, I'm still trying. Like, I've got good friends of mine that they use it. Still, and I'm like, look, I don't get it. Yeah, and it's probably taking me a while to get it, but I'll just flow with it.
Right.
Yeah. So I still don't understand it, and yeah.
Of late, we see Australia's changing a lot of things about migration policy, especially for international students.
Yeah.
Part of my work, what I also do, is lecturing students who are doing their masters.
Yeah.
And obviously, they come from different walks of life, different backgrounds all around the world. So concepts such as pronouns is a new thing. They struggle a lot with the LGBT. They believe a lot in multiculturalism, but at the same time faced with a lot of racism and so on and so forth. Yeah. But a lot of them, then you figure that they end up coming to do social work for paper purposes. I mean, I don't want to hide that even.
Yeah. How
important is it for somebody who's rooted in the social work and also child protection, like your expertise, all round? How important is it for one to sort of think carefully about trying to just find papers, but to think carefully about the love of what they want to do?
Look, if you don't love what you want to do, it will be hard. Like, I don't think you'll survive long there. Because for me, one thing that I've survived, I've worked for, the long I've worked, is because I've always had a sense of curiosity. I was like, why does this policy work? Why do we want? Why is it formulated? Who's going to help? Like, I'm always just trying to understand why that policy works. And like that, being curious and just wanting to know has pushed me to be like, because I'm always curious and I'm just eager to learn. Because I came in from a background of working as a social worker in Madare, and in my mom's organization, it was never a paid thing for me. This was part of work. This was not even part of work. This was part of life.
Right.
Yeah, supporting those kids, making sure they're met. And partly even coming to Australia was me trying to escape that. That is another story for another day. But just coming in the background of that, knowing I'm doing this not even for the pay, but just for the love of it, kind of helped me because I'm trying to learn and understand so that I can, that's for my own growth as an individual. So that's a journey that I've chosen. So if you're coming in for paper, you're lost. Like you're in a situation, you're doing something that you don't really love, you don't want to grow, you don't want to know anything about it. As a professional, you're not going to grow.
Right.
Yeah, so it's risky. You're going to waste 4 years of your life doing something that's not going to help you. So if you can't grow into it, so what are you doing?
Right.
You're just wasting time, yeah. So for me, I feel like, but I get it. People want to do this for papers, like people want to migrate. And this, the global north is actually changing a lot of this. Like Canada is also going through the same changes. Britain has just gone through the same changes. Yeah.
Yep.
Australia is just catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people always find a way to beat the system.
Let me ask you, maybe I've got 2 questions.
Yeah.
I need you to listen to your dad. Let's see if we can put your dad in a test, right? You'll tell us whether your dad is telling the truth or not. A close friend of ours, you spend a lot of time with him, came and we had a great chat about raising the boy child.
Oh, yeah, more. Yeah.
And
it was a good learning one. It was a good one.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
A lot of people wrote to me and they were like, oh, wow.
No, I did tell him, like, I loved his perspective. And I kind of learned a lot from that. A lot. Yeah, so it was a good one.
I want to hear from you because there's a concept we spoke about as kids being friends with parents, which he seemed to have a view that there should still be a certain line that exists there. What's your take on that? The concept of kids being friends with their parents, and where's the line drawing? So for instance, can David call you by your name?
That's a no.
That's a no.
Yeah.
He just shook his head from.
No, like I'm friendly.
Right.
Yeah, I'm is relatable. Like we can have a conversation. I want to be your friend. Yeah, but just know I'm your friend that will always tell you the truth. You're not always going to like me. I'm there to call you out. So, yeah, I want to know. I just want to know about your day. I want to know how you're doing. I just want to have that relationship with you.
Right.
It's something that I want to build to. So, yeah. So that's it. I want to be a big part. I want to be able to influence you. I'm not going to be able to influence you if I can't talk to you.
Right.
Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, like he wanting to talk some of the things. Then at his age, I'm like, yeah, he should be thinking like that. But like as a parent, I also need to be checking him. I'm like, hey, dude, this is not, yeah, you shouldn't be doing this, or I don't want to hear that. Right. Yeah, so it's a balance.
Right.
So how else? Because I just don't want to find myself. I'm like, hey, he's a 20-year-old. Like now he's grown up. He's got his own family. Or hey, not 20, 30. So he's got his own family, and I still can't connect. I can't talk to him. He can't come. He can't reach out to me. Yeah, I just want that, and I also want to learn from him. Because I'm not. There's no manual of being a parent. Man, we're just winging it. We're just trying the best as we can. Yeah. Like,
can I ask him something?
Yeah, sure.
Do you always get the things that your father says to you?
Sometimes it just gets like the point straightforward, but like sometimes he like says something he wants me to understand, but he's like giving you different scenarios like this, like just different scenarios. You're
giving you examples, or
like examples.
Okay.
But like it's
so
just
50-50. So which one do you prefer?
It's just random.
It's
whatever you give.
Or whatever I give, okay. So do you think there's anything that as a parent I should be doing?
Letting me go out with my friends to the beach more.
Yeah. What about the dating stuff?
I mean, not 21, but like that's a bit too old. What if I like move out when I'm like 20? What about what's gonna happen then?
You're still not allowed. Yeah.
Like maybe like not like now, but like maybe when I'm like little older, not like close to 21, but like going upwards, like maybe like 16.
So when last we had this conversation, what did I tell you?
I have to give you a good reason why.
Yeah, okay, I'm open to it. I'm open to having this discussion, but you need to give me a good reason why I should allow you to date before you're 21.
I don't know.
Seriously, have you thought of any reason?
Character.
Okay. Yeah, no.
My character.
No, just stop throwing words there. Tell me, like, you have to give me a good reason why I should allow you to date. Like, look, I'm happy for you to have girlfriends, but you need to tell me why you need.
No. What is that?
No, I'm happy for you to have girlfriends.
No, like.
So you don't want girlfriends?
Friends, like. Yeah, but like.
Sorry?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
21's a bit of a stretch, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You look. You think about it. Give me a good look. I'm open to it. I'm open to this conversation. Just give me a good reason, and yeah, it'll probably be a yes. And you tell Uncle Tony.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
Oh, you had to put me on the record.
I had to put you into the record. We see the best dad. I'm kidding, but I think you guys are really amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njoroge, for coming on and for sharing with us about your expertise, your work, parenting style. Really enjoy that. Always enjoying that moment. Always I can tell that there is great levels of fun in your family. You're a very humble man. Honest, straight to the point. Your son says sometimes you get straight to the point and no beating about the bush. So thank you so much. I really appreciate having a chat with. I don't know if you have any parting shots for us.
No, I really enjoy listening to this. Like really educative.
Mm-hmm.
Like I listen to some of the things. I'm like, oh wow. Yeah. So that is very informative. Like I'm enjoying every podcast. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your kind words.
Yeah, and next will probably be David asking him how growing as a teenager is and all the challenges they face.
Definitely.
And probably even the like from the parents' perspective, like what does he think? What are we doing wrong?
Are you keen to have that conversation with your dad one day? Sure.
Yeah, just seeing things from their perspective, like what am I missing? Because actually that's one perspective we haven't really gotten. It's like hey, dude, do you think I'm still doing the right thing? Hey, am I this parenting thing? Am I winning? Like, what do you think? I'm doing all right. I thought I was doing an A.
All right.
B plus. Oh, wow.
Maybe a B minus.
A B minus. No dinner for you.
Well, that's about it, Visions and Tones. That was our chat with Mr. Benard Njoroge. Yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks for choosing the Visions and Tones. We'll see you next time. Go ye and be best human beings, best versions of yourselves. And we are out.
This is the Visions and Tones podcast with Dr. T.